Right, here's the G11 kit that's just been released from customs. You need to be aware of your order. It will be impounded by customs until you pay the requisite duty. As you can see, the main board, all the smaller components have already been done, so it's not a huge job in terms of soldering. There's the bag of components that came with it. This is going to be constructed for 472 kHz band, and you can download an NOV for that off the internet quite simply. I'll mainly be using it for Wspr and Opera and various other digital modes. Now, I am not the world's most experienced kit builder, so the approach I've decided to take is read the instructions, something I don't normally do, read the instructions again, identify the part, check the part, fit the part, test the part, and if all of that looks good, test the module. Hopefully in that way, over the next few days, I'll be able to get it working. We'll see. Okay, about an hour into the build, and you can see the power supply section's been installed, and following instructions on the iPad as you go along. It's reasonably tricky so far. All the voltages have checked out apart from L1L, which I've got no volts on, which concerns me. We'll see whether that's an issue as we go further. Okay, taking it nice and steady. I've been working for about 3 hours. I have the power supply section done, trimmers are in. The only problem I've had is identifying some of the components with which I was not familiar. The inductors here, and there's a ferrite bead which is leaded, which you need to find. Other than that, straightforward. The one other thing was to make sure that on the test points you read whether it's to check the voltage across a device or the voltage on a particular point. I made a mistake with that. Thought it wasn't working. When I reread it and sought advice, I found out that basically I'd misread the instructions. Other than that, it's now ready to go for a firmware upload, which I will endeavour to do online. Okay, now upgrading or uploading the firmware using the USB connector to PC, and it says that the new firmware is 0.06. Hoping that's the right one. We'll install and run the GSDR program in a moment and see if it picks it up. That was actually very easy to do, just following the instructions online, just using the USB connector to your laptop and powering up accordingly. Seems to have gone well, nice and straightforward. And the cat's enjoyed it too, haven't you? Hello. There's the firmware gone in, it would appear. Firmware version 0.06. No serial number yet. I don't know whether that's normal or not. Whether I have to redo it, but at the moment I've got no serial number. Maybe that will appear later. The board sits there. So far so good. Well, it's the next day and I'm just setting up some jumper wires to test and adjust image rejection pre-adjustment. Everything seems to be checking out fine. It's actually been very straightforward to build, even for me so far. If I can do it, honestly anybody could do it. So if this works, I'll recommend it for anyone. Oh, I've got some signs of life now. My first test on the SDR. Certainly hear the AF preamp switching over. So the software is talking to the board and the board is talking to the computer. Now this doesn't have the correct sound card, I suspect, and I don't have a decent antenna. So it's difficult to tell what's going on at the moment, but progress nonetheless. Right, this is the first receive test. I have the serial number in, I've updated the firmware. I've got a jumper wire for the antenna across, I've got audio going into the computer, and apparently got signals on 20 meters. Just turn it on and see what it sounds like. Now this with no filters obviously at the moment, so things are not perfect, but excellent. So really pleased with that.
Ocean Mini 1 Alpha Delta X-ray, Oscar Mike 1 Alpha Delta X-ray, contact.
Well, here's the board finished, apart from the heat sinks needs to be added to it. There are a lot of issues with the 500 kilohertz version of this. It's not clear on the PA transformer, the SWR toroid, exactly how they should go and which end you should tap the PA, but if all goes well and I've read it correctly, it should work fine. Okay, so the case arrived today and here's the board in position. There's just one mistake on the board, I wonder if you can spot it. Not on the board, I mean on the construction. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. The LEDs here should have been left standing so they could be bent through the holes on the front, but I'll replace those at a later date. Quite a nice looking case cabinet for it, and finish off fitting it and test it out. Okay, so here's the finished radio connected to the computer, and you can see it looks rather nice. If you are going to build one of these, and why wouldn't you, I really would recommend it to anybody. Lots of support on there, particularly from Bruce, who will do anything to help you and give you advice, and there's lots of other people who are happy to help on the particular one that you're making. This is obviously the medium frequency one. Get the case is what I would say. It really does make the difference. It's much more stable, it looks better. I was going to make one of my own, but I never would have got one to look as good as that. You can see on the display the nice steady Wspr signal going out on 474208. It's actually on 474200. The 8 Hz is an offset, as I haven't actually finished calibrating it yet. If I can make one, anybody can make one. Get the kit, make sure you get your LEDs lined up. I'll have to take this apart and replace those at some point, but for now I'm very pleased with it. Very nice kit, lots of good advice and help out there. Maybe spot you on the air on 474200 Wspr. 73s for now. Bye bye.